Warning, this content is for entertainment and educational purposes only. What's up, guys?
What's going on?
Hopefully,
Hello.
I didn't ruin the AB Live momentum by taking last week off. I was at a coaching convention with Justin, just hanging out with him. We were acting like the bad kids at the back. He had his booth set up, and we kept talking, and they told us we were being too loud. I guess we both.
How was the show this weekend?
Man, that was fucking ridiculous, man. I've been to many national shows. I've never been to North Americans. That was the most ridiculous show I've ever seen.
Just the quality of competitors?
Quality competitors. I think they said they had almost 1,400 people registered.
Holy
Crazy.
Yeah, so anybody, like these assholes that say getting a pro card's easier now, you're wrong.
Yeah, that's crazy.
There were a lot of disappointed people up there. I mean, my client Nick, I was feeling really good about him. I mean, it's only the second show, but he looked really good, and shit, he was second call outs.
Wow.
That's how crazy it was, and there was one super freak, I forget the guy's name, that was there. I'll show a picture of him, but that dude was ridiculous.
Was it that black dude?
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
a Nigerian or something.
Insane.
The crazy thing is, the only way, like, he made I don't know, he didn't look like a light, or didn't look like a heavyweight to me, but I don't know. Maybe they squeezed him in. Regardless, nobody was beating that dude.
Yeah.
It was just the amount of people that were there. It was really fun, man. It was fun to see. Yeah, the guy I beat in the super heavies at Masters Nationals, I felt bad because he wasn't out on the stage at Masters Nationals, and I felt like it was him and I were kind of the battle, and he won the overall in the Masters division. So I saw he got his pro card, so I was happy for him. That's the shitty thing, man, is if you show up in a weight class, there might be guys in finals that you're better than just because you didn't, you go up against the wrong guy in your weight class.
Right.
But it was ridiculously competitive. But
That's cool, though. I'm glad to hear that. It's always interesting because sometimes you think bodybuilding is getting a little less popular, but then you really get to see how many competitors there actually is. Like, and that's already shipping off all the regional competitors, right? So,
yeah, I mean, it was. Let's see if I can find some of these in the Masters competitors. Holy shit! There's some dudes that were doubling up and going back down into the the open division and kicking ass. Like the Masters guys were kicking open guys' asses. So anybody that's, talks about Masters being a gift, you're also wrong.
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell people. It was I saw several Masters guys dip down into the open and do really well. Let me see if I can find this video of this dude, but it was the still I would say, hang on, let me pull this up. I would say with this kid has a ridiculous physique. Kurt, you said he works out near you, right?
Which one?
The kid that won the overall at North Americans.
Let me see who it is. That guy? No, I don't think so. I've never seen him before.
I thought you said he was, but he was ridiculous.
Needs to grow his arms, but man, he looks great.
I mean, he's just got freak genetics. I think they said he's only like 23, 24, something like that.
Oh, seriously?
God damn it.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, conditioning could be a little bit better.
Yeah, conditioning's off.
Yeah.
But, I mean, when you're a freak, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I mean, he's
going
lean.
to do well as a pro.
It's just water. It looks like to me.
Yeah, his fluid is off, but he's lean enough.
I mean, he's got a crazy physique.
Oh, love it.
It was so awesome seeing him win too. He was all teary out on stage. It was you could see he was very emotional. It was
he looks insane.
my client Nick, I mean, they were comparing him. This is
Oh,
my
he looked
client,
great.
Nick. They were comparing him. This is him against
His
dude,
back. Oh,
the dude that won. That my client
so
Nick was
good.
in the second call-outs, by the way. So if that tells you the kind of competition
Wow.
that was there,
Which
but,
is, I'm not judging anyone. His posing off is in the photos.
yeah,
of
he's
the
posing.
ball.
Yeah, he needs to work on his posing. He knows that. We talked.
That
about
could
it.
be the big difference there.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it was only his second show, man. I mean, so
Did you guys
It
see
was-
the classic overall winner?
I did not. I didn't.
I don't know. It looks interesting. I mean, again, he's probably got a weight cap. He looks like a shorter dude, but the classic category was like kind of underwhelming, to be honest. I thought there could
bodybuilding
have
was
been like
crazy.
a lot better dudes.
It just depends.
mean,
You
they're
know how it goes
obviously
with these
way
shows,
better
man. It
than
just
me, but-
depends on who shows up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's any
Yeah.
show.
How did you do,
Yeah.
Amy, at your show?
Oh, I did not do well. I placed last.
No?
Yeah.
Oh,
I was
wow.
4th out of 4. Yeah. Yep. Ironically enough, I was the very last competitor. I was 107 of 107. I was the very last person to get tanned. I was the last person on stage. I was the last in my class.
Oh my god.
But it was a great experience. The show itself was actually really cool, and I got Martin Fitzwater was one of the guest posers, which was really cool. Seeing him up on stage, especially this close to the Olympia, was really awesome, and just such a nice guy. I mean, the show itself was really cool. For us, it's the smallest show I've ever done, but it was the longest show I've ever been at. I mean, it was. I went on stage at like 12:45 for prejudging, and then at 7:00 for finals, and there were only 107 competitors.
Wow.
So that seemed like a very excessively long day. But being the last person on stage had its like extreme benefits because I didn't have to worry that I was going to miss my class.
Yeah.
Like I
Take your
waved to the
time.
expediter. I'm like, I'm here whenever. And they knew I was the last one.
Yeah,
But
that's
it
a
was a great
sucky
day.
thing about like with me, like being in the supers too. Usually, you're the last up. So, although being the old guys, I'm the last of the first up. I see Justin
Yeah.
is here. Well, he's getting his situation straight. Yeah, there's Mr. Harris, Haktua.
There he is.
I don't think he has his
He
microphone.
can't even hear
up
us
yet.
yet. That's cool.
No, I can't hear it yet. Yeah, Justin had some competitors there too. A couple guys came up and talked to me.
Yeah.
It was really good. What's up, man?
Nothing. My headphones aren't working. Plus, are they working?
I don't know. Are they?
Hi.
Are they?
I don't know. How much did you have this morning?
Not enough to do that. Not enough to not know if my headphones are working. I don't know. It says that I'm supposed to be going through this headphones right now, but whatever. We'll do it live.
You sound fine. I was just telling the guys about North Americans, man, how it was crazy, ridiculously competitive when I was there.
Yeah. You know that, like you're saying about people are talking about like the quality of the pros, or it's easier to turn pro. The last few national shows have been deeper than I remember ever it being. I mean, nationals last year you had guys in third callouts with striated glutes in every class.
Yeah. Yeah, it was like that. And I think they said, I maybe I misheard this, but I was heard one of the NPC officials talking and said they had like 1,400 people registered for the all 5 days
It's
or
insane.
4 days, whatever it is.
This time of year is so brutal because you got to do all the check-ins for your North American people, and they, that's like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then the World Championships are somewhere this weekend, which is like, but they're like 12 hours ahead of us, so it's hard to even tell what day that is. And then I just happen to have a couple people like in the Philippines competing, so I've had to do I would do check-in every like 2 hours through the night, 24 hours since like Monday. And it's so I've had alarm set for 11, 1, and 1, 3, and 5 every single AM every single night this week.
So it hasn't been that brutal for me, but I did go up to North Americans. I had 2 guys compete there, and I got 3 guys competing today. So,
Well, that's quick $1,000 to get your backstage pass and your tickets to the.
oh yeah, and I blew my tire out driving up, and
Oh, yeah,
had $800-$900 toe that I had to
You
drag
drive
80 months.
you drive the 21s?
Yeah.
Yeah, those, man, I had to switch to the 19s. I don't like the 19s, but I was blowing a tire every month. I was spending $1,000 a month on tires.
No
I
shit.
just got brand new tires after 16,000 miles.
That's incredible because they're 7,000 pound tests. They're heavy, 7,000 pounds, and they got those 21s, low profiles, Michelin Pilot Sport 4S. You're not supposed to drive them under 40 degrees, so they're like a really like soft rubber. And then there's a strong camber on them, just because of the weight and stuff. And then it drives better and looks better if you keep the suspension set to low. But then you're putting all those 7,000 pounds just on the inner rim, inner side of the tires. I was just, I finally made it like every month. Yeah, I think it took me maybe not 16,000. It was about 10 or 12 before the first one. And then it was tire after tire after tire. But I ended up going to the 19s, and I haven't had a problem since. But they don't look as good.
Yeah, I talked to the guy at, they told me to the Tesla dealership because I was out in the middle of bumfuck nowhere, Pennsylvania, in the middle of a cow pasture, and there wasn't anybody anywhere within 50 miles that had a tire to fit my car.
Does Tesla not come with a spare?
No, there's no spare.
No, I don't think you can even lift it. I mean, because the battery pack, you would lift the battery pack's right under, and if that gets punctured, it's like, where you would lift because the entire bottom from tire to tire is a battery pack.
Isn't there a jacking point like every other car?
Oh, I'm sure, but they just don't. They don't do a spare.
They don't
tire,
want people fucking it up.
Yeah, I mean, because if you damage those batteries. I mean, and that's a fire. That's a lithium ion fire.
Right.
That'll burn. Nothing will put that out. I mean, that'll burn till the car is just nothing but a puddle.
I'll stick to gasoline.
Too slow.
It was pretty wild when my tire blew. I was on self-driving, and it detected it and sounded at the alarm and let me know and got the car off to the side of the road. It was pretty cool.
Oh wow, that's cool.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever get the Cybertruck?
No, mine's supposed to come in October. I'm pissed because I got the Cyber Beast, like the good one, and they do the long range and the cheaper Cybertrucks first, and so I'm seeing all these Cybertrucks everywhere. I'm like, shouldn't you like do the people who went all out? Shouldn't they get the first ones?
Right.
But I'm supposed to get it somewhere between October and December, but I ordered it in summer of 2021.
Oh fuck!
Yeah, I've been on the waiting list. I still haven't gotten a call up. I don't think I'm going to get it though. My wife, oh my gosh, she hates it. It's just like that thing is fucking hideous.
It is.
And
That's what I like about it.
It seems like I like that it offends people. Everybody seems to be. It seems to universally offend women for some reason. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, well, they don't like you. A lot of people don't like Elon Musk, and then a lot of people don't like ugly cars, and so you combine the two.
It's bigger than I expected them to be. I actually walked by one on my way home from the gym yesterday. I was like, they're like wider than they seemed like they should be. Like they take up a little more space than I.
They're wild. They're
think
something
maybe
like
should.
11,000 pounds, and they have 1,000 horsepower. Well, mine will have 1,050 horsepower. And so talk about, you could tow anything. The traction you get with that weight, it's like a Class A semi.
That's insane.
Yeah.
I know they had to trim down the size of it too because the original model was too big for garages and shit. I think, or to be classified as a non-commercial vehicle.
Yeah,
I think
they're even still. I think they're probably pretty close.
They took too long to produce it. I think something like that. It looks like a DeLorean. You got like a couple year period where it's like, oh, that's interesting, but they announced it 6 years ago, and people have been taking orders for 5 years, and so everyone's now that it, a 6-year-old car isn't new anymore. The Camry doesn't keep the same style. Like 6 years for any other vehicle, they've already gone through a redesign, and so I think it's too slow. The novelty and the interest is no longer there. Now it's just like an ugly car. But I mean, I still want mine, but or ugly truck.
I don't know. I like ugly, offensive things.
I just been
I would
waiting.
hesitate to call it a truck.
Bad. Well, I'll call it Cyber Beast then. I got the machine gun turret on it anyway, so I can't put anything in the trunk.
You're gonna get the Halo wrap, make it look like the Warthog from Halo.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I saw
Cyber
one
Tank
like that.
seems like a more fitting name than a Cybertruck.
Yeah.
Josh, he's funny. Class A semi is my porn name.
That's my nickname in high school.
How did your guys do at North Americans, Justin? I talked to a couple of your people.
No one did good. No one did that great. I mean, it was good. I mean, decent, good for them, but no one was competing for a card really.
Yeah, it was crazy, man. It was just loaded.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of, I mean, like you hope, but I mean, like, guys were in good shape, and it's like, okay, you're in shape, that's all we can do. Let's see where it lands. But man, like one class, and I know it was I just saw a photo somewhere, and I know it was at least third callouts, if not fourth. It might have been fourth because there's only like 4 people in it. 3 guys had striated glutes, and the one guy was that guy who looked like he was 20% body fat, that shows up to these shows every year. So I was like, holy shit, that was last call out. And these other 3 guys looked on point. I mean, they had cross striations in the rectus femoris. I'm like, there might be 4th call out. That's got to be a deep class. I think that was heavies.
He talked to me for like 20 minutes backstage, by the way.
Yeah.
He's in every show.
You got a picture of him?
He was in the Masters division.
Yeah, I'll be curious to show that, because the class is interesting, because it's like, wow, those guys are in shape. You look at the first 3 guys, because it's like 3 to 4, and he's on the far right. If you scroll left to right, you're like, oh, they're in. Is that first call? Oh, that's not first call out. What the hell? That's last call?
He's like mentally disabled or something. He's just out there having fun. So I think they just kind of let him do it.
Yeah, I don't mind that. I mean, the way I look at it is there's qualifications. If you qualify, like when people get so mad when guys like that compete, and it's like, well, at a state show, there's no requirement. So if you want to get out of that, if you want to get above that, then win a state show and start doing only national level shows. And then you have to compete against people. Otherwise, you don't get to say anything, because you haven't yet reached the level where you have to qualify. But then it sucks when they make the qualifying level, because it's like, God, goodness, someone else has been in that show.
He's definitely like severely autistic or something. Like I think they just let him get out there just to have fun. Yeah. He's kind of he's backstage talking to everybody up. Everybody knows him. He seems like it.
Giving training advice.
He was telling me how hard his prep was, and he's ready to eat. I'm like, yep. But he's the one charity case out there. He's super nice kid, or not kid. He's my age probably. But it's just one of those things. But yeah, overall it was the competition was crazy. I didn't see. Kolton said that the classic didn't look as competitive, but I didn't see the classic. But the bodybuilding was crazy.
Yeah, it's been like that. I mean, classics usually still pretty good, but bodybuilding I don't have like a little mini resurgence, at least at the national level. The state level, it still seems down compared to, I don't know, maybe 20 years ago, but every class now at the national level is deep all through third callouts.
The guy that I beat in the supers at North Americans, I talked to him. He won the overall at this one for the Masters division. I felt bad for him. Yeah, because he should have been out there in the finals, but he definitely brought in better condition. He was leaner at the show, so he was super nice guy. I talked to him afterwards. I was really, really, really happy for him. There was all kinds of people backstage I talked to too. It was hung out all day. It was a cool experience. Exhausting. It was tired. You went last year, didn't you, Justin?
Yeah, it's a hard one. They're all tough to go to. I just feel, I mean, I'm an introvert, so those things just suck the energy out of me. I'm always just ruined after. I mean, I have a good time, and I'm glad I go, and it's nice to be backstage with your clients. But man, that's like, I feel like I wore a Whoop for one of them. I had a like Whoop watch or whatever, and I never really tracked it, but it measures your metabolism, or it tries to. And mine always comes out at like 2,500 calories, which always seems low, but I have a crappy metabolism. When I went to North Americans, it was over 6,000 each day, and I had my step count was dramatically lower. So I can only imagine all the readings for stress must have just been sky high that whole day.
I came back, I lost weight. Well, I only ate twice both days. I was so
That's
busy
the
running
other
around.
thing. Yeah.
I like my, I was telling my client that was backstage. I'm like, dude, you probably ate more than me today. I didn't even have time to get breakfast or anything, so I was just running around. But yeah, Justin commented last week when we were at the event. You sat in the chair after me. You got to witness how
Oh my
hot
Lord, yeah.
my metabolism burns.
I never felt anything like it. It hurt. I mean, it was when I got close to it, and I could feel it. It was like a wall of steam heat. I couldn't sit in. I had to move.
And I'm not on all the fat burners and shit right now, man. That's just natural.
Man, I would love. Oh crap! Wrong button. Mood lighting.
Mood lighting.
Yeah, mood lighting. That's the stripper lighting.
Yeah. Oh
And
man,
they turn on the lights at 3 a.m. and you're like, whoa.
yeah. You look different with the dim lights. You had less bruises, I swear.
Less bruises.
Oh, they're always bruised. It's bruises everywhere. They always have a long butt too. It goes down the back of their knee.
The long stripper butt.
That's the Tuesday night girls. Tuesday night long butt.
I hadn't been to a strip club in forever. I went up with one of my buddies was back in town. We don't have them in Virginia. They don't. Virginia's really uptight. They don't allow them. So we have to go across the border into West Virginia, and it's always fun going up there.
They love bodybuilders. Yeah, I heard like you have to go through an age verification process to watch porn in Virginia.
Yeah, it's so stupid.
That's wild.
There's-
You'd like show your ID or something just to go on the internet. I was reading that on Twitter.
Yeah, our stupid governor, out of all the problems we have in the state, opioid crisis and stuff, and then his number one priority was to make sure that
crisis.
I'm very sad. There's no more Pornhub in Virginia. They said,
No.
fuck Virginia. We're not doing it.
That's
We're
crazy.
not doing it anymore. Pornhub says, I'm out.
Too much work.
Too much work and not dealing with all this. So, yeah, it's the sad life here. You just use a VPN.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. I wonder what Colin's doing with the... he's out today. He told me, by the way, he said he's taking a Labor Day trip away with his wife this weekend. He said he'd be balls deep in his wife, so he apologizes for not...
Hey, congratulations.
He's in the chat.
There, yeah, I know. I see him.
Yeah.
I don't know where he
Taking a
went.
break?
Apparently he has one hand free.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's be honest. He's sending memes. He's not. That's what he's doing. All right. Let's see what we got going on here. We want a greeting from the toilets at the Ritz-Carlton. Oh, somebody was asking how your Anadrol experiment went, Kolton.
Great. No, I think I made a video about it briefly, but I think it's like by far my favorite oral now. After experimenting at higher doses with everything, is like exponentially the one that I noticed the most like genuine performance enhancement from, going like at least 25 to 50% up in loads on movements, which is just radical for me in like such an instantaneous moment. And then immediately then to feeling both a sense of euphoria and fullness that I've like never truly accomplished before outside of like maybe, speculatively dosing insulin and stuff like this. But man, it was incredible. Like I genuinely never used Anadrol beyond 50 milligrams because I never really had a reason to use it. And then once I had gone up to like 150 to 200 milligrams, I was like blown away by the effects you could get almost very acutely in both how you look, but how you can perform as well in the gym. It's incredible.
The strength increases are crazy. You're running it right now, aren't you, Kurt?
I just stopped, but yeah, I was running 100 seemed right for me. 150 killed my appetite, but I gained 9 pounds, 11 pounds in 3 weeks.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's awesome.
With no
How long
loss.
does that last? I mean, is that like
Seemed like tissue. My weight
actual
didn't drop,
maintainable
but,
tissue?
Well, I was using 3.5 grams of gear with it and half a bottle of Saracen a day.
That'll make it solid.
You have like, how was
I
your
got
like
way too
lower
much
back?
time on my hands
Were you
now.
all tight from being so full?
Me?
I can't use it because I can barely walk. My lower back gets so tight, and I would never be able to run. I feel I mean, I'm always full no matter what. But the last time I tried that, I did 50 a day, and that's what made me had to stop. I just waddled everywhere. My lower back would be so pumped no matter what I did.
I get
I
worse
remember-
lower back pumps from Anavar than I do from Anadrol.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, I don't get. Yeah, I mean, Anavar leaves me super full, but not quite that like that.
Yeah, I get crazy pumps from both. I remember, God, the last time I ran in, I have a bag of a couple boxes of Anapolins that are just, they got my name on them. I haven't used Anadrol since my early 30s.
Oh wow.
And
You were
I'm
my
tempted.
inspiration, Colton, to run that again.
Yeah,
I
dude,
never used more than 50, and I always used it with things like Deca, and it just like
I have like 3 more bags ready for the Olympia, ready to
Sweet.
go.
Yeah, I was thinking about hitting it up before the Olympia and fill out a little bit. I remember the last time I ran it, I was playing rec basketball. I was running tests, Deca, and
my God.
Anadrol. And I remember, like, I got one up and down the court, and my calves were cramped up so fucking bad, I couldn't run. I had to go sit on the bench. And they're like, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" And I'm like, "I can't do it."
That's what Adderall does to me. It's like so full, like it's hard to make a fist.
That's crazy. I love it, man. Like especially in my arms, because that's like my biggest lagging body part. It's like immediately the difference is so substantial where I can like feel every contraction, but then it's like an explosive pump where it genuinely hurts, like how full my skin is. And it's unique. Like insulin makes me full like that, but it doesn't improve performance like that. So when you can both get like the performance leveraging sort of like the strength increase plus the like sensational awareness of your muscles, it's crazy.
Man,
It's
you
like a
make me
whole level
want to do Anadrol. I'm gonna give it another try. In a couple of
My
years.
personal experience, at least. Personal experience. And someone asked if I did blood work. I haven't been able to do blood work in Canada because it's just not possible.
It's impossible up there, man.
Yeah,
I have clients up there. It's like you have to go through a doctor, and then they give you a hard time, and then they won't order all the panels you fucking need, man. It's ridiculous.
Right. Yeah, even getting a CBC CMP if I did it privately is almost like $300 to $400. Like what I could buy that for $30 in the States. Like what the fuck?
Yeah,
I
it's
did
ridiculous.
mine on it, and they were fine.
Yeah, I never have personally, anecdotally speaking, from my clients, like especially if we maintain like awareness of how long the person is on it, it's usually not an issue. It's not an issue. Like I wouldn't say it's innocuous. Like there's slight elevations, but percentage wise, it's only like 5-10% of an increase in transamerases, which come back down almost within a couple days of ending. You know.
Yeah, I think Anadrol is interesting because 25 years ago when I was starting to learn about all of it, that was like warning, don't ever try, and it like you like really look into it, and it's not at all. It's really not like that harsh,
Yeah.
I mean, but back then they thought like that would convert to estrogen at a crazy amount. They just like thought it was all bro science stuff that was just completely wrong. But yeah, it was like never use this.
Yeah, I remember the conventional knowledge back then was that you were going to shit your liver out when Anadrol. I remember, I think it was Chad Nichols, wasn't it him that had guys run really high doses of Anadrol?
Probably, yeah.
I think it was Anadrol and Equipoise, if I remember right. His guys in the off season.
Yeah, Colton, my cholesterol was 100. My triglycerides were 65.
That's awesome.
On
That's
100.
your freaking nature, though, Kurt.
But on
I
like
told my doctor what I was
almost-
doing beforehand too, and he gave me this dirty look before he ran my labs because he thought they were going to come back really awful. So not that awful.
on almost 3 grams of gear in Anadrol. It's fucking outstanding.
Somebody's asking, I don't think I've ever heard you say this, asking you, Justin, why you like
Weird.
Proviron. It seems like
I
a
was
lot of
just
guys
typing
hate
an answer to that. I don't dislike it. Is more the answer. I don't think that what's the negative to adding it. It's super cheap. It can raise free testosterone. Maybe you don't want to lower SHBG too much. I don't know, but it's probably not going to do that. Going to keep your estrogen better. It just gives you more androgen in your body. It's not. I mean, it's super cheap. So it's not that I like it. It's more that I just don't see why people knock it so much. it's cheap and doesn't, has like no real strong negative effects, and it gives you a little boost. Great.
Yeah, I think the only negative is it doesn't build tissue, but you're not using it for that anyways. Yeah. Who really cares?
Seems like my prostate always swells up when I take it.
It's pure DHT, so do that.
Yeah, it's the only thing that seems to agitate my prostate. That and Tren.
Do you guys think there's a unique effect of a lot of people think there's like this drying out characteristic that it has post you're like 2 weeks out from a show or so?
I mean, I don't know, drying out, but it's an androgen. You're going to get like more of that roughened skin, like male look, which does look like hardness on stage. I mean that's a beneficial look. That really like leathery, rough. They're just overall androgenic look. So, and I find in clients like they have issues with sexual dysfunction on DECA or even Tren that it really helps that. It just seems to help so it's like no real negatives. It's cheap, it just doesn't like Kurt said, it doesn't build muscle. So it's, the positives aren't going to be for muscle growth, but if you want to look more androgenic, and have, have great boners, I guess, I don't know. It's just cheap and not harmful.
Oh my God! If I take it, I'm ready to go 24/7. It's like
it's Proviron not cheap anymore.
Man.
Someone said
I think it's pretty expensive personally.
Yeah, it's expensive.
Yeah, see that I've been TRT for years. I'm so out of loop on what things cost anymore that I was always cheap whenever I would find it. It would always be like, oh hey, you want to add this to it? Like whoever you're talking to couldn't get rid of it. So, but if it's expensive, then it wouldn't be my first choice for sure.
It's nice in something like you said with DECA too, because it adds like an androgen to something like even with Primo. Like Primo's not very androgenic. Right?
Yeah,
we were on that's what the guys in the 80s were using it with with DECA and Primo and D-ball because there's like no androgen potential there at all, right? Because otherwise you're just like all anabolic. You have no sex drive at all.
Yeah,
I am definitely putting my ID in for the porn sites when I'm on Proviron.
Where's my license?
God damn it! The most inconvenient time to put my driver's license.
Yeah, no kidding. Now,
right?
Way to kill the mood, Virginia.
You have to show it every time you get on. Like, is this or is it like you verify your identity once and then you can access all the porn you want?
Honestly, don't know. I think that you have to put
Man, what if I have a
VPN.
client in Virginia and I'm just, I'm feeling a certain kind of way that night before show, I'm alone in the hotel room. And is my like cookies going to think I'm in Virginia forever and I'm going to go back home and it's still going to lock me out? You
got to clear your cache after you leave Virginia.
I'm never going to Virginia. Screw that state. Even though I'm there like 8 times a year.
I mean, we had blue laws up until not that long ago. The state is, I think there's still a sodomy law on the book. It's the home of Jerry Falwell. You have to remember.
Oh yeah.
It was.
This is Proviron, right? Masteron.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'll try some later. See what happens.
Make sure you're not in Virginia.
Get your ID ready, Kolton.
Oh, Canadians probably love porn, right?
Yeah. I've only tried this on prep, and so I've never really experienced like a substantial libido boost from it, to be honest. But
yeah, somebody, JT said you can just use a VPN and change your location.
There you go.
I appreciate that, JT. I ran an IT company for 20 years and have a degree in computer science. I do use a VPN occasionally. Oh man, they were trying. That was one of the things with that internet's social media law or whatever. What part of that that ban for TikTok? There's some ambiguous language in that law about making VPNs illegal potentially.
It seems like a free speech violation of some sort.
It seems like it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I haven't. I know they
so
passed.
stupid. It's just like it's so stupid that we vote people in to then tell us things we're not allowed to do. Like I can decide. I can not do things that are harmful to me on my own. And I just hate that. Like the government's so weird. People get election year, and so people are so like fervorous about like who they think is going to win and who they want to win. And like, I don't want anyone to win. Imagine if you took the United States government and just broke it down to like your street, you know, your 8 houses on your street, and you guys were like, all right, we're going to vote. One of us is going to run the whole street, and everyone else is going to have to give us 40% of your money. Plus, you know, anytime you buy something, you know, like 6% or whatever is going to have to go to me, and you're going to have to pay for where you live because I'm not going to let you live in that house without, you know, and there's a bunch of other stuff you're going to have to pay. Well, you're going to pay me everything, but what you get is that I'm going to tell you how you have to live your life. You know, I'll be like,
I think that's called the
"Fuck you, John."
cartel.
Yeah. I mean, if you broke down like that, no one would be like, Larry, no, I'll live my own life. We didn't even vote who runs this street. I'm not giving you
Sounds
half
like my
money.
HOA.
I guess people still vote for it even at that level. Yeah, I just don't get it. I don't get it. Or everyone's view on everything is if they're gonna pass a new law, people go, well, you know, I never do that anyway, so therefore I'm happily going to vote so that no one is ever allowed to do it. You know, it's like I don't know, smoking or something. I don't smoke, you know, and I don't like smoke, but just because I don't smoke doesn't mean like I'm like, well, you know what? No one should ever be allowed to smoke because I don't do it anyway. So that's a good law.
Yeah, I mean, on a ridiculous local level, like, yeah, the HOA. There's a lady in my neighborhood that walks around and reports people to the HOA. She's out yelling at me about some shit that was on my lawn, and
I just
told her
can't understand how that type of person. I'm so extremely different than them that I don't even know how we could be the same species.
It's called stay in your lane.
Oh God, yeah, like. I don't care what anyone else does ever about anything. You know, maybe I'm too extreme on that, but I just don't care what anyone does. I don't understand how other people can.
Yeah, it's HOA is bad. They're all the time sending me notices about this and that I'm doing wrong. I'm like,
we measured grass. We've agreed upon the fact that grass can't be more than 2.25 inches, and yours is currently nearing 2.5 inches by a certified ruler.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I just throw those warnings in the trash. I don't even fucking look at them.
Yeah, I'm like, come at me, bro. I can spend a lot of money on lawyers.
I just wipe my ass with them and throw them in the trash. It's usually the old people.
Right, I just have to have more money than you.
HOA people never have held a leadership before position, so they flex. Yeah, that's exactly what happens. It's usually anger over my big dogs. That's what gets me.
Oh yeah.
There was poop outside, and they sent me a violation letter, and I'm like, and it was like I don't. The guy came out and told me I had to pick up the poop after my dogs, and I'm like, I do. I'm like, dude, like, have you seen the size of my dogs, man? Like, this looks like rabbit pellets. My dogs poop bear-sized turds. I'm like, come on, man. Give me a break. All right, let's get some questions. I've been terrible about marking these questions.
There was a question at the end of the last live, which was 2 weeks ago, that you guys did answer, but I would like to add some additional feedback, if I may. It was, I can't remember who asked it, but they were asking about their wife who has very large chest, doing training chest supported exercises. Yeah, Colin was very helpful. He said you guys just need a bunch of spotters, but I will say the best, 2 spotters specifically, the best tip I can give is to use a yoga block. And you might even need 2 yoga blocks on some machines. And I mean, just for women in general, they can be so helpful for making a machine fit better for our limb length. But I mean, there are many exercises that I just carry that yoga block around with me in the gym. And even for things like pull downs, you know, just where the chest support hits sometimes just isn't great for where your breasts sit. And the yoga block really, really helps. So while you're looking for questions, there was my fill in the gap, literally.
I don't know why this one drives me nuts, man. I was trying to explain this to people. Daniel said, I don't believe getting a pro card is easy now, but it is easier. Dave Palumbo in his prime was insane. He would absolutely get a pro card now. There's lots of guys who've never gotten pro card or what.
The Palumbo argument though is Palumbo. I mean, I don't know that he should have got a pro card then, you know, and he didn't for some reason. And if you look at some of the people who got a card ahead of him, or placed ahead of him at shows, you'll see that they would not do any better than they did there currently. So I don't know that that's a good argument, because he should. Everyone was saying that at the time. Everyone at the time said he should have had a pro card. You know, it wasn't like that. People were saying like, "Oh, he sucks. His shape is bad. We're the '90s, so everyone looks amazing." You know, it was back then. Everyone was saying he got screwed show after show after show. And the closest he came to his pro card was second, arguably the worst he ever looked at one of his last attempts. And so I don't know that that's a good argument, because he should have then. Jade Palumbo 1995, 96 might be the most impressive bodybuilder as far as pure freakiness ever. There's no digital photos, so there's only a couple of photos. I think he's posted them a few times over the years, but you would not. He's like 330. How he looks with 0% body fat. It's just unbelievable.
He was enormous.
It's remarkable. The
330 on stage.
So, well, that was the other thing. He would be 315 to 330 in better shape than anyone has ever been on stage, but he would compete at like 260. And I felt that all it did was it make his waist look bigger, because your waist size isn't going to decrease. There's nothing there. He's already strided glutes. Inside out shredded. You can see his teeth through his upper lip at 315, and he would diet down to 260. And I always felt like all it did was make everything around his waist look smaller. But if you find him in the off season, if that dude just walked on a stage at a pro qualifier, I don't know how you could have denied him, because he was remarkable. There's only a handful of photos, but they're absolutely insane.
Yeah, he was enormous back then. It was probably the keto diet and just over dieting and shit. You'll see.
Yeah.
Because I know he likes running keto diets, but yeah, he was huge. It's the math of it that drives me nuts, Justin. Because you remember, man, back then, a national show was 50 dudes.
The other thing people do is they say, so everyone will show a picture and be like, up here, 2001 NPC Nationals, I took 10th. 8 of the 9 guys ahead of me turned pro. You won't see that at this show. It's like, yes, because it's only this year. Those guys had, 20 years after that to keep trying to turn pro. If you look at the top 10 at any pro qualifier today and look in 10 years, you'll be able to say that, 7 of those top 10 eventually turned pro. That's just a byproduct of the fact that your show was a long time ago. That's my other big pet peeve is they'll say one guy at the Nationals turned pro this year. At the Nationals I did in 2001, 8 of those guys turned pro. Yeah, not that year. Over the next 10 years they did, of course. And over the next 10 years, 8 guys in this show will turn pro. So I've been around the whole time. The physiques have been physiques. The top guys are still pretty close to how they've always been. It's not, you look back, because what Nationals do people remember? Do people remember when Ken Brown won? No. They remember when Kevin Lebroni or Paul DeMeo or Phil Heath or Flex Wheeler, no one remembers, when those guys won, because, and so you look back and you pick over 30 years, you pick the 10 best bodybuilders ever and say that's what guys looked like when they were turning pro. Nick Walker turned pro, and you're going to have guys like that every 5 years. And then so in 30 years from now, you're going to look back and they're going to say the same thing. Look how guys look when they turn pro in the 2000s, 2010s, and 2020s. It's because, but look, there's lots of guys who weren't that great at weaker shows, just like there were in the 1990s,
Yeah, there was tons of dudes this weekend that didn't get pro, or this past week that should be pros that didn't get pro cards.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Shows are as deep as ever. There used to have third call-outs at a national show they weren't good. In 2004, you had 10 guys in each class that were really good, and then it fell off hard. Now, third and fourth call-outs, the guys are in shape. Everyone's got strided glutes. Everyone's in shape. It's, I don't think it's been a huge drop. I think we see everyone who turns pro, and when we look back, we only look at the best 10 guys who ever turned pro.
Yeah, people also look at things through rose-colored glasses. The guys now are huge, man.
Yeah, do you remember when JoJo and Tifero turned pro? Exactly. Right. Bring up guys like that. He turned pro one year, just like guys who might not look that amazing turn pro these days. We just look back and we only pick the amazing guys who turn pro and say, see, this is what guys used to look like.
Somebody brought up.
No offense to JoJo. He actually was a decent pro bodybuilder.
Somebody brought this up. The Jared Feather. Have you seen Jared Feather's waist lately? It looks photoshopped, but apparently it's the real deal. Yeah, he looks ridiculous.
He's got a tiny waist. I've seen him in person.
Yeah, I've seen him in person too. Jared's not the kind of guy that would Photoshop his pics. He's nuts.
No, that's legit, dude.
Yep.
When he was in Thailand, I was blown away, and he was like in his off season. I was like, dude, what the fuck? Like, what are you doing?
He's a freak. Nice guy too. Super nice guy.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let me see what I've got for questions. Jason Koch. Is Mast way more anabolic than Primo? Also, if you were driving up max strength, what is the main anabolic you would use? Happy weekend, guys. Well, I think we already talked about the main one we would use. Somebody wanted to...
Sure. Well, I mean, no one can say that because no one knows how anabolic Masteron is.
Right.
So, sure. Is it anabolic? Yeah. Do we know how much? No.
There's never been an essay done, right?
No. We only know it's binding to sex hormone binding globulin. We don't know anything else about any other receptor and its interaction. Because it was not as efficient. So it went head to head. When Syntex released it, went head to head with Anadrol and with Superdrol. Superdrol was toxic. They shelved that thing. And Masteron seemed to somehow stop tissue growth on the chest of the female rat. So they were like, breast cancer. And the FDA approved this. They never bothered to look at it. There was like one study with women in cancer, but you can't really take a woman that's bedridden with terminal cancer and say she gained 1 kilogram of weight and apply that to bodybuilding.
Justin, I'll ask you, man. I don't remember anybody talking about using Masteron until like the last decade.
I always used it. I always liked
Did
it
you?
in prep. I never used it in off season, but I always really liked it in prep. It felt like guys had better response when they added trend. It seemed to give a hard look. It seemed to so I always liked adding it, but never for use as an anabolic. Or I always kind of viewed it almost like a Proviron on steroids, I guess, so to speak. That's just that's kind of how I viewed it. But I always liked it in prep. It seemed like I could push the doses. Guys seemed harder on it, but I never liked it for off season. And every time guys would always want to try it, and it just seemed like it never seemed to be that effective. But for prep, with a hard look, being dry, I liked it. I've been using it since early 2000s, late 90s.
Yeah.
Prep.
I used it. I mean, I used it in my most recent stack, but it was 800 milligrams out of 3,500. So it wasn't really I was using it more just to cut the water off. I wasn't using it to drive anabolism. I'm sure it contributed to some degree. Its structure will yield growth. I mean,
that's kind of exact same thing. The way I use it, it keeps guys drier, and so when they're in prep, from a mental standpoint, when you're dry the whole time, you feel more motivated.
Yeah,
because there's nothing worse than being in prep, being 8 weeks out and like looking watery because it looks like fat, and and your brain isn't working, you're not logical, and so this just keeps you nice and dry, mitigates the risk. It seems like the side effects for tren are much lower. That's it. I
mean, Primo is crushing my estrogen, and to me, it becomes a cost thing, right? If you're going to run a gram of something, and you look at the cost of Primo at a gram versus I could get 3 bottles of tren for the price of 1 bottle of Primo, and which is going to work better? My money's on tren. Sorry. I think Primo is a great drug, and it's very safe, and it can be used very well, but at the end of the day, it doesn't.
Yeah, I never use Primo.
Carry Tren's gym bag, so.
I never used Primo. Primo is always an off-season product for me, and then I pull it when we start prep.
I ran it all the way up to my show.
Or we run it all the way up to the show.
I did the press test Primo Masteron combo, all one to one is how I
and the funny thing is with like contest compounds and stuff, I've had guys like win shows on just testing EQ. I won the Mr. Michigan on only Masteron, not on purpose. I got to 8 weeks out, and I had an order that got seized or something, and I couldn't get anything else. And some guy at the gym gave me Masteron. And so for the last 8 weeks, I think I ran 150 milligrams a week.
Jesus.
I was 113 or 213 on stage. I won the overall, but I feel like I could have been 230 if I had a full cycle in me. Well, that was back then. It's so different than it is now. It was always like that. You were always something's getting seized, couldn't find something, always in a panic that you're not. It wasn't like now where it's like, just order it. I'll just go www.buymystuff.com.
Oh, this guy, we didn't address the second half of his question. He also, if you were to pick a drug to drive maximum strength, what would it be? I think we already talked about that. Anadrol.
Anadrol. Yeah.
I mean, if
you got a guy who's got to be in a weight class power lifter, check drops or Halo.
Yeah. Or
like
Tren suspension too works great for like.
Yeah, can you cut that out in 3 days out and then flush the water and then have it back in your system as high as many milligrams as you want in your system, depending on how much you can tolerate.
Kurt's running his little baby cycle for the Olympia.
How many weeks of the Olympia
I'm
now?
just cruising right now. I'll do something again.
5,
6.
Man, I keep saying I'm going to start
5+.
something to look good for the Olympia. I got to get on it. I'm going to start starting Monday.
150 milligrams of Anadrol, Justin.
Man, I got it. Kept off I was going to do it something for 10 weeks, and then I just keep forgetting. And then we bought the supplement company, and then I've been traveling and keep forgetting. But what can I do in 5 weeks?
We only have 6 weeks left.
What's that?
You only have 6 weeks left.
Yeah, it's like under 6 weeks.
Yeah, 5 weeks. Yeah.
I guess I got to go back
Just
on
over
the
5.
No time to recover.
I have been
Blood
so
rush going
bad
up at
since
290. Where's the
I have
Anadrol?
been so bad since my show. Like everything I tell my clients not to do, it's what I've been
Oh,
doing.
dude, I'm the same way.
It's hard. People don't realize how. Like, I can't believe I used to compete and coach at the same time. I don't know how I did it, because it's like it never ends that you're being pulled away from a meal. You're traveling. You're up through the night. I mean, it's like just so counter to being a good bodybuilder. It's because right now, like, I'm like Paul. Like, I used to I would just find a way to get my meals in and stuff. But right now, like, I'll get crazy busy, and then right as I'm about to go to a meal, I got to do this, or there's a check, and it just like drags on, and the next thing I know, I've eaten twice for the day, and I'm starving. But it's
Yeah, that's my issue. I mean, I ate 4 times in 2 days at North Americans.
Oh my god!
Because I had so much going on. I was just running around like a chicken with my head cut off, and then I had gas.
Man, I was so bloated after the Brazilian steakhouse. I gained like 12 pounds between that and the flight home.
You ate an impressive amount of food at the Brazilian steakhouse.
I didn't think it was that. I guess, I mean, they cut me off, so it must have been, but I didn't feel it. I mean, I was really hungry because we hardly. I mean, I only had.
I think you
like
doubled me up.
Wait, they cut you off?
Yeah, they kept stealing my green thing because all of a sudden I'm like, no one's coming over here, and I look and my green thing was gone, and so I'm like, what the heck? And so finally I stole like someone else from the table and put it there, and they came over. And then like gave me some more food, and the green thing was gone again. And I'm like, what the heck? So then I stole my daughter's and I put it next to mine. And the next guy came over and he like put the plate down on it, and then like it kind of stuck, and I could see him like try to reach his pinky, and it lifted up, and then it fell down. And so then he grabbed it with his hand.
No
like, come on, what a dick.
That's bizarre. That's fucking crazy. I've never.
And yeah, I've eaten way more at those places. Like when I was really big, or when you'd kind of have a contest with a buddy, and no one's ever cut me off.
Yeah. That's awesome. The steakhouse we're going to in Las Vegas, that place looks pretty interesting.
Yeah, I'm curious what something like what that's going to be like.
The seafood tower, that's like $200.
We got a private room, so we'll be there with the long butt strippers.
All right. Tuesday long butt.
It's on a Thursday.
Oh, Thursday long butt. There's even worse. The day before Friday, they're pissed because they didn't get the weekend session. So
the A talents for Friday and Saturday. Yeah, you impressed me with the food though, Justin. I was like, I think you doubled me up, man. I was like, I'd tap out.
I have an absolutely massive appetite. I never even when I was 300 pounds, I still had to like temper my eating. I never could eat as much. I've never eaten as much as I wanted my entire adult life.
That sucks.
I know, yeah. Well, I mean,
That's the worst.
the good thing is like it's super easy for me to get big. I like that, adding sides. I could probably be 300 pounds by the Olympia. It's never been a problem. It's always been getting in shape. Always.
We see you in Masters or what?
Oh God, no. I don't have the. I have to like starve to be fat. Prep that was the thing for me. Like people always like act weird that I'd weigh my food and I'd eat chicken and rice in the off season, but I was fat doing that, and still not eating as much as I want. I don't know. I have some kind of problem, but yeah, I mean, my family's all pretty overweight. There's very few people under 300 pounds. I don't know if there are any, even, like all the women are 5x5s, cubes.
Oh, Jesus.
So yeah, and my dad's over 300. I always tell the story. Everyone's really big and like bulky, and like the guys are really strong. My dad could rep 315. I took him to the gym when I was in high school. He'd never worked out in his life. Grabbed the bar crooked. He didn't know how to do it. He brought it to his stomach. He's all like wobbly. Did 3 reps with it. But I remember, I tell this story all the time on podcasts, but when I was in like 3rd or 4th grade or whatever grade you were learning about norms and averages and stuff, and I got a bad grade on assignment because I said the average man was 6 foot 250, because I never met a guy under 250 pounds. I'd always hear like my uncles and stuff say they were trying to get to under 300. And so I was like, well, they're big. So then the little, like when you average out with the little guys, it's probably 250. But the average was like 5'9", 160 or something.
That's crazy.
Big people. Here I am.
Joshua Perry, he's laying down the challenge. I'll be 310 if I want it. If I don't want it though. I want to be able to sleep and breathe.
I have the opposite problem, man. I like.
No, my dad's 6'3", probably 315.
Oh, so your dad's taller than you?
Hey! No, we're the same height. He's just a legit 6 foot.
Justin is 6 foot according to Bumble.
Yeah. I'll say this: I bounced for years. I am taller than almost every 6 foot person. I know that much. Every dude come up. I love 6 foot. Come on, Perry. We're not fooling anybody. You're wearing boots too. Adding 2 inches. Yeah. I was just a crack up because I think mine says like 5'10", my license, and everyone that was 6 foot was shorter than me.
I'm sure you've been disappointed on many dates, Amy, with the guys that say they're 6 foot.
Yeah, if they say they're 6 foot, I fully expect them to be 5'10". Like I don't even expect them to be close to 6
crazy.
foot. I mean, I'm essentially 6 foot with shoes on. I'm 6 feet tall. Like any shoe.
Really? Holy fuck!
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
5'11". I had the NPC verify that for me 2 weeks ago.
Let's go. That's crazy.
You got to go for that. 6'1" probably legit. If you see 6'0" on a dating app, that could be anywhere from 6 foot to 5'4".
No, even like 6'4", these guys show up and they're barely as tall as me. I'm like, you are not 6'4".
Well, that's funny because playing like sports, you'd always get measured, And so I remember like my buddy was my lifting partner in high school. I was like 5'10", he was like 6'2". And every time he'd say that, guys would get so mad. No way, you're at least 6'4". No, you're like 6'5". No way. It's like, no, dude, I'm 6'2". He's like, no, because he'd be towering over all these other guys who thought they were 6'2". He's like, no, I actually get measured.
Well, they lie in sports though too. I've got a picture of me somewhere standing next to Peyton Manning. I met him one time, and they what did they list him at? 6'5" or something like that.
6'4", 6'5", yeah.
Yeah, and he was the exact same height as me.
Wild. Well, when you go like to the combine, that's one of the first things they do is they put you against a wall, barefoot, and you have to lift your toes off the ground to force you on your heels, and then they flatten your hair, and then they do like a laser, and everyone was several inches shorter than they were claiming to be.
I also met Shaquille O'Neal one time. That dude is legit huge.
Legit tall, yeah. I just saw a photo, like a meme, and it was a bodybuilder on a yacht with Shaq, and Shaq's been working out. Yeah, I was like, yeah, when you work your whole life to build muscle and then stand next to Shaq, because he just looks like a little tiny little twerp.
He is.
That's just enormous.
I've never seen a human being like that before. Yeah. His wife was tiny too.
It's hollow.
And that's expert analysis from Justin Harris, folks.
I need to bounce in a second if you have any questions that
All right, yeah. Let me go. Let's see if we got any. Let me see if we got any good PED ones. We already did the Proviron one. Here's one. Can Anadrol be taken 4 weeks on and 4 weeks off safely?
Check your blood work. Sure. I mean, I find it seems to kind of tucker out after 4 weeks anyway. I don't know what you guys
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah,
I'd rather run it hard
I think
before
that's
and
true
then
with
pull
just
it
about
out.
any
That's
oral.
partly why I don't like it. If you're trying to add size, I like stuff that you can just run along. It takes time to build muscle. You're not building much in 4 weeks. If you're doing something for strength or for an event, or you need to break through like a plateau, and you think improved strength will get you there, that's what I would use it for. But that would not be my main hypertrophy driver.
And I would only use oral maybe twice a year.
Yeah.
Like if I'm being wise, it doesn't mean that in practice that's what's done all the time, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't advise people to use orals more than twice a year.
Well, in prep, you're not wise, so
No. Outside of prep, I'm just saying I wouldn't be leveraging orals all the time.
yeah.
Every 4 weeks.
I tell you, if I worry more about the lipids than the liver values with running orals.
No, yeah.
Yeah, depends on what you're using.
It's always my lipids that is even Anavar will absolutely nuke your lipids. At least that's what I've seen.
Have you used Cardarine?
I've never messed with it.
I mean, it's it's so new, and the research with cancer. I mean, the data with cancer isn't so super appetizing. But I did Cardarine before my last contest, and my HDL was 37 after the show.
Oh,
And
wow.
my LDL,
Okay.
I think, was like, I don't know, like I think it was under 200, like 195 or something. I mean, not amazing, but I was using AIs and harsh compounds, and I was blown away by. And the only, I use Cardarine, and that was the only thing. I mean, it will have some, because the way it changes the way you use fat for energy seemed logical that it would have some beneficial effects on lipids. I don't know. I never really looked into it after that because I like the cancer stuff with it kind of made me not want to use it anymore. But
Yeah, when the AI thing with estrogen with cardiac function is sexually dimorphic. Men with elevated estrogen are not protecting their hearts. Most men that go into the ER with a heart attack have high estrogen.
yeah, I can imagine the fat.
That's the problem, is that cardiologists made up that data. There's no data to show that estrogen is cardioprotective in men, nor that AIs cause cardiac issues. That doesn't exist.
Interesting.
That's thank you, Derek, for more plates, more dates, for making up stuff.
I don't know where it came from. I don't know if it was him.
I think Derek was the first one to start with that.
No, it was around before that. I heard some of these steroid doctors talking about it before then.
They should have to supply citations if they're going to say stuff like that.
Yeah, you don't have to. You can supply it. No one reads the studies. I've linked studies that have nothing to do with the argument I'm making just because when I'm annoyed because I know they won't read the study.
Well, like the famous Llewellyn and equipoise, like the one, like he made claims about equipoise, he linked some rabbit study, and there's no data to support what he's talking about at all.
Yeah.
It's just a random study about EQ.
Yeah, God.
Is that the one that our friend Victor Black likes to cite all the time? The rabbit study. I think that's the one.
Yeah, the dose, if you equate the dose for humans, it's not really. It's like you're taking 10,000 milligrams a day.
Definitely
Okay.
be 300 pounds by the Olympia then.
Here's a high dollar one. Okay. He really wants this one
Yeah.
answered. Burning tags, best compound to control estrogen on longer cycles. Been using Primo to great effect, but the PIP is wearing me down. EQ, mast, thanks.
Yeah, for my opinion, I think you're already on the best compound. That's the problem. But
I'm concerned with the PIP and Primo. I don't know why guys are using this junky Primo. It hurts.
Yeah, and it's wild because I thought it was universal for a long time, but I find there's a lot of PIP for me, but I see a lot of people that seem to have nothing from it. It's really interesting. So I don't know what's causing it. I assume
I can tell you it's when it's brewed. So as soon as when it's on the flame, if it starts, you see ribbons form on the top of it, you got to shut the heat off right away, or leave a candy thermometer and watch it, because as soon as it ribbons, it's going to gel, and the only way to get it to stay liquid is to add more BB, and that's what hurts. And then it's not filtered. Guys don't want to spend the money on Bell filters, so they're just pouring it. They're just sucking out, and
Yep.
putting it in the vial, and so you got crystallized shit with extra BB in it.
Well, that's what I always assumed it was the crystal. Yeah, the large
Fluid,
crystals
bro.
getting through.
Because even
Dude,
at 200 milligrams, I mean, as Paul, even at 200 milligrams per ml, if it's made correctly, it doesn't hurt at all.
Yeah,
The filter thing is so true. I've talked to a lot of people who I'm like, so how do you run your brewing setup? No filter. It's just like
Yeah.
fucking straight through.
I would filter it
almost
3
no one
times.
does because it takes forever. Filters
Yeah,
are
when it's
you know,
expensive, the filters are $300. You got to throw them out after every batch.
Yeah,
You don't
yeah.
want to get clogged.
Yeah.
You know, and certain things are real filthy. EQ's filthy. Deca is really filthy.
yeah.
You know, you have to filter this stuff or it's just garbage.
Yeah, I always assumed it was like the not fully dissolved crystals, you know, and then that's just irritating the tissue.
Yeah, and cooking it wrong. Siponate does that too. If as soon as it
Yeah.
boils, it's junk.
Yeah.
It's gel.
Yeah, when I was in Thailand, I did get ringobolin a few times, and it's thick because it's in castor oil, but it's fucking like you don't feel it at all. I mean, it's
Well, see, I
virtually-
had sharing Primobolin in like 99, 2000, one of the first cycles I did, and there was a lot of pip.
Well, there's no in the original Primobolin, there's no BA. Even in neonates, and so Primobolin's prescribed for neonates, so it'll kill them. So they had to pull the BA out, and which will numb some of the pain. So then it just stings.
Interesting.
And so I think a lot of underground labs play on that effect, and they're like, "Well, see, the Primobolin stuff hurts, so ours hurts too."
Yeah. So they just use BB.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's
Probably
not
like
feel very good.
30% then.
Yeah, yeah. If you had 30% BB to Primo,
Yeah, that's gonna be
yeah,
rough.
feel
Yeah.
real amazing.
So there's your answer. That I did not know that until Kurt.
Me
told me.
neither.
Best compound. I mean, like he said, the best compound is probably that. But again, if it hurts, I mean, who knows what it even is?
Yeah.
I mean, dude, use an AI. Like, how much test do you like? There's nothing wrong with the Rimidex. If you're using a gram of test, use an AI.
Yeah, and you don't have to just because you're using AI, you don't have to use a milligram of Rimidex a day or
No,
25.
you can-
You can use
Yeah, just
1
get your
milligram a
estrogen in
week.
range.
Yeah.
Like, it's so silly that everyone's trying to avoid.
Well, because they
Designed
like, no one can like. There's no range of thought. It's always so and so took an AI and it killed all these problems. It's like, well, they were in prep using like a
done on
25
purpose.
milligrams of Romacin or like a milligram of Arimidex every day. You don't have to do that.
Yeah,
There's a
that's
whole range from 0 to that.
Yeah. I mean, I find the only benefit to using Primo to control it is then instead of using a compound that just deal with estrogen, you're getting anabolism and an AI, right? But if your Primo hurts, use something else. EQ will do it too. EQ is hard to manage. I feel like EQ crushes your estrogen. It's hard to get it at the right dose, at least for me.
Yeah, no,
You know,
I
it's good-
agree. I see that a
it's
lot.
smooth sailing for a couple weeks, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh.
All right, let me see what I got next here. Chicken and rice. I love this. I love this name. It's one for Justin. Is QRF supposed to smell like my landscaper's butt after moving all day? I don't know what he's
I don't
talking
know
about.
what his butt smells like after mowing. I only know what it smells like after a shower. So, I mean, the ingredients, typically chemicals don't smell that great. So, does it smell through the capsule? Mine doesn't smell, but I mean, I'm used to eating ass, so I don't really, that might be different.
Remember, this guy paid for this question, Justin.
No, it's how about this? QRF is supposed to improve your liver values, liver enzymes, and it does do that. And we have very clear data that both the ingredients in it and the ingredients combined in the way we did in the product does. So that was our focus. We're a singularly driven company. We want results, not smell.
Yep.
It's I've seen it on the lab work, man. It's got to be the NAC.
QRF is our liver product, Joshua, at troponinsupplements.com or troponinnutrition.com, or soon a gym near you.
I gotta go.
You headed out. We'll see you,
Yeah, I
Kurt.
got to get out of here.
See you, Kurt.
I'll see you guys later.
See you, Kurt.
I have seen it
Cool.
on blood work over and over and over again. I've had people with trash blood work after shows and a couple weeks on QRF and
Yeah, we had to go through a lot of work, a lot of paperwork, and a lot of approvals to get the NAC that we have in there. So when I see other products have NAC, it really intrigues me because that was a pain in the ass. That took like 6 months to get that in. So
Wow.
Even that was way harder than getting what's the other one? Teacrines was easy. Cluster dextrin. Cluster dextrin you had to go through because it's a trademarked and that was way easier. NEC for whatever reason, like everyone told us we couldn't put it in there, and then they say, oh yeah, if anyone has it in there, they're claiming it. They don't have it. It's but we had to go through approvals and stuff. So
Wasn't the FDA trying to classify it as a drug there for a while?
Yeah, and I don't know where they're at with it, but yeah, I mean, it was a pain in the butt to get approval, and through that whole process, I would be so pissed because I'd see all these like companies popping up with NAC, and I'm like, do you really have NAC? Did you do all this? Because I hate paperwork, and it seems like a lot. Like old school, they're really good at paperwork.
Colin said, Paul, what advice would your father have for someone complaining about injection pain? My dad had one.
Being such a...
My dad had one piece of advice for every problem when I was growing up, and it was stop being a P word. I can't say it because I'll get demonetized. Evidently, that's a bad.
Old school dads, they didn't put up with any shit. Probably there either way. Quit bitching about it.
My dad was brutal growing up. He did not accept complaint about anything.
Same. I was not allowed to bitch and moan about anything. I'm still not. My wife's the same way.
Honestly, it's good though. Like,
I'm
instead of
usually
having like a team player all the time, to have someone who puts you in line and it's like.
No, it is. Yeah, I mean, I'm naturally like not a complainer, or I'm all like. But like if there's like like with the supplements or the company, like when it's something that's hard, I'd much rather have someone be like, just quit being a fucking whiny bitch. It's gonna, you knew it was gonna be hard. Get it done. Complaining's not helping. But yeah, I'm not usually a whiner anyway. So,
Justin, I was just thinking about it. Your wife sent an epic picture of you to me. The one of you laying on the thing posing.
Oh, the piano one.
Yeah,
Dave Palumbo took that shot. I get so much shit from her family for that. It looks like total gay erotic. So that was the junior essays. I won the junior essays in 2006, and Dave Palumbo was doing photos. I don't know if he was trying to be a photographer for the NPC or maybe it was for his website. I don't know, but Kevin Lavroni had some photo where he was kind of on his side or something, and it looked pretty cool. Kevin pulled it off. So Dave has me climb on the
very
grand
small.
piano.
So I apologize, people.
Oh, yeah. My wife's family has been giving me shit for that for 20 years.
She responded to an email and she's like, "Here, enjoy this pic of Justin."
Oh my god! Jeez. Yeah, my brother-in-law is always like, "Hey, there's a piano, Justin. You want a photo? There's a piano over there." Every time he sees one. You want to put on your underwear?
I can see if I can make it bigger. There we go.
Yeah,
that's pretty pixelated.
That's definitely on feetfinder.com or something.
So you can thank your wife for that one. She sent that over.
There's worse ones she could send, I'm sure, but I'm glad. So I'll take that.
That made me laugh. All right, let me see what else we got here.
Yeah, vaginas are quite robust. When he does, quit being a pussy. It's like pussies can take a beating. I don't know what you're talking about. I saw a comedian do a skit on that. It was actually pretty funny.
There's a whole thing about that. It didn't even come from that. It came from a Latin word. So it was a Latin word for coward or something. It had to do, I forget where it came from.
Etymology is funny.
Chase, you just said it. Well, this video will be demonetized now. It's okay.
Oh man, no, I said wussy.
Can't say
I got
that.
a lisp. It was tough getting in our stuff.
Chase said this. I guess he's trying the Suppressor Max out. He said it's legit.
Thank you. If I can say, yeah, I mean, it's hard. It's so hard, like being a research driven company, because how do you get 19-year-olds to understand that? We added a permeability enhancer, a 10 carbon chain fatty acid called sodium caprate. We have the actual chemical name on the bottle, and it increases the permeability of berberine across the small intestine. That's the problem with berberine; it's not very bioavailable. So ours has more than double the concentration at hour 2, and ours lasts for 8 hours. Where which is still pretty active at hour 6. Where regular berberine, you get a small burst, and by hour 3, it's almost gone. And even more so in studies, it shows improved blood glucose 22.5% better than berberine alone. So it's not just that it gets in your blood; it actually works better. But explaining all that to a frat boy, who read that GDAs were good is like so hard. So it's tough as a. We're a product-driven company, and the products are good. Thank you, Chase. But it's a hard sell to people who are just buying C4 because it's at Walmart.
We all know C4 is awesome.
80 milligrams of caffeine and no pump products. Fantastic.
All right. Let's see. Martial arts and bodybuilding. I have a question. My body fat is 15% and I'm 12 weeks out, but dieted for 20 weeks and feeling tired. Would you refeed or just keep pushing? Been carb cycling, but strength is going now. 20 weeks is a long time to be in a deficit.
Yeah, that's why I don't like prepping longer than 16. Even 18. I've Matt Porter kind of brought the 20-week thing in for a while where everyone's doing 20 weeks. I found by week 16, everyone just fell apart mentally. And so I usually cap my preps at 16 weeks. If you can't get ready in 16 weeks, you got to do 2 diets because 20 weeks that's 5 months.
Yeah.
I usually, when I diet people, I'll diet them. Like if I have people that need to lose a ton, I'll break it up. I'll do 16 weeks and then take like a 4 to 6 week diet break.
Yeah, maybe even less than that. Sometimes I'll do 8 on, 2, 3 off, 8 on, 2, 3 off. I mean, it sounds like you definitely need a bit of a longer time. I mean, 15%, if you can conceptualize that, that's a lot of tissue to lose in a 12-week time span, depending on how much lean mass you have it. And if 15% is being honest, it could be 16, 17%, but that's a really sizable amount of literal body mass you're just ripping off of yourself in 12 weeks. If you still have that much left and you're feeling fatigued and tired, yeah, man, you might need a little bit longer, to be honest.
Yeah, I think it's tough. This is case in point why you do not let yourself get in the 20% body fat range if you want to compete.
By the time you get it all off, you've lost any muscle you've gained. It's just kind of a mute point. I don't think it's advantageous to get higher than. I don't even think it's advantageous to get close to 15%. But
I mean, this year was the leanest I've ever started off prep, and I don't know. I think it worked out well. All right, let's see what we got. We got a couple more left. Let's see, we already did that one. Did the Anadrol one. Somebody was asking, what do we think John Jewett's going to place? I mean, he looks great, but
he looks really good. But it's the Olympia.
It's the Olympia.
He looks really good. That's like what that's kind of why I quit the sport. Actually, is Steve Kukla was clearly progressing faster than me. We were both young. I was doing really well, and I was. I'd won the junior USAs and placed well at the USAs, and Flex Magazine picked me as the one to win the next pro qualifier I did. But Steve was younger than me and clearly progressing faster than me. And he also clearly was probably never going to win an Olympia. So you realize just how genetically gifted those, like a William Bonac or, like a Samson is, or Andrew Jack. He looked insane at his last show. I mean, I don't think people really fully appreciate it. I think that's one of those are the sets of photos from that show is something that people will be looking back on in 20 years. But yeah, he looks amazing, but it's the Olympia.
Dude, the genetics thing was apparent this weekend. That the guy that won North Americans, there was nobody else there that looked like him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he just was like, he wasn't in the best condition, the kid that won, but it was just like he didn't look like anybody else. It was
it's just a different, it's like you see a Dusty Hanshaw at his peak and you're like, holy crap, how is that? But it's like, he doesn't, the quad sweep isn't like genetically perfect, or, you see another guy and it's like, God, he looks amazing, but he's got high biceps. They're like the guys, the top, 5 at the Olympia, there's just zero. I mean, you had, remember Ruli Winkler, because he had flat outer sweep, he had like massive legs, but he just the way the muscle inserted, that outer sweep wasn't quite round enough. And it was like, just that guarantees he would never win an Olympia. You know, despite all his amazing genetic gifts, you know, probably possibly the best triceps ever, best, you know, amazingly round balloon muscles, that absolutely insane amount of size. But yeah, this just the Olympia. I mean, like those guys are just remarkable.
I would, I talk to John occasionally, but I would imagine he would probably be happy with finishing inside the top 10.
Yeah. Hmm.
I mean,
Yeah, and
probably,
that's another example of like, you look at what he looks like, you know, and he'll be happy with the top 10. You know, like when you go to you talk to every young guy and like their goal is to win the Mr. Olympia, and that's great, and you should have amazing goals, but it's like that's just those guys are good.
well, I mean, it's like, I played basketball when I was younger, and you get to a point when you realize that, yeah, it doesn't matter how hard I work, I'm not going to beat.
Oh yeah, some kid that just smoked a joint on 2 hours of sleep will come in and dominate. Yeah.
That guy's 6'8" and got a 40-inch vertical, and just can run all day long. You're never going to beat that guy. It doesn't matter how hard you work. You're just never going to beat that guy.
Bodybuilding is like, it's weird because of the PED component and the fact that you have to train so hard, and how well you do and look is directly resulted to the amount of effort you put into your training and your practice, which isn't, like other sports don't have that eating and stuff 24 hours a day, but it's the only sport where people refuse to accept the genetic component. Like no one walks around being like, yeah, I'm going to play left tackle for the Giants. And we'll be like, well, are you 6'8", 330 pounds? Because if not, no, you're not, or like I loved baseball as a kid, and that was my dream all the way up until college. I really thought I was very good at baseball, by far my best sport. But at the end of the day, like guys throw 100 miles an hour, or guys hit the ball 500 feet, and like, like I was a good player, but like some guys just like some shortstops, just like guys from the Dominican Republic, they just don't. It's like bad hops mean nothing to them. It's just like they're playing like with the games in slow motion. It's just a different thing. Or you got guys 130 pounds and have the quickest wrist imaginable, swings, where they've got like an extra 0.8 seconds to decide to swing on a pitch because their swing is so quick and they have so much power because of it. And like, it's just like that next deviation from the norm. You might be one standard deviation from the norm, and you're going to be captain of your high school team, all state, things like that. But that next standard deviation is just a whole nother world.
What was it I was reading one time about? You wouldn't know about this, but like they did this was like this whole theory that the human brain is a quantum computer. It was based off of baseball, that theoretically that if the brain worked at above a subatomic level, that it wouldn't be able to compute things fast enough to be able to hit a fastball in baseball. Like
the brain actually does work similar to the way a quantum computer works. I did a seminar on that in grad school. I don't remember much of it anymore, but yeah, but it was like the way quantums will use like logic, like not loops, or not loops, but or loops, not loops, and the way it like holds knowledge. And because like if you think of a dog, like what does that mean? It's some firing of neurons that associate all the things you've ever associated with a dog, and then that all combines to kind of create what your thought is of a dog, your picture of a dog, your view of a dog, but there isn't like a dog part of the brain, and there isn't like, and the neurons are just electrical signals that then release neurotransmitters, the same neurotransmitters for every thought, the same electrical signal for every thought. So it's some combination of those 500 trillion neurons firing that creates all our thoughts. And it's really similar to the way a quantum computer operates, or the way they
manifested himself into the frame. He heard us talking about dogs.
Yeah, he's a big boy.
I have to disagree, Justin. The neurotransmitters that fire when I think about peanut butter this deep into prep are different than all my other thoughts on Earth.
They have discovered a serotonin type 3A/B that is the peanut butter neurotransmitter.
It is palpable.
It's amazing because when you're in the off season, like peanut butter is almost a chore. It's hard, it's so sticky. It's like it tastes okay, but in prep, it's like I've never done crack, but I feel like I have a good concept of what crack feels like because I've eaten peanut butter
Yes.
late in prep.
Like the thought of putting peanut butter like on a Quest bar.
Oh my god.
Anything.
I mean,
Eating it by the spoonful, putting it on rice. It doesn't matter. It's just,
Yeah.
it's just peanut butter.
yeah, just smelling it in the jar, you know.
Oh my God.
It's all those neurotransmitters are firing in a way that is unique.
Yeah, they're dancing.
I told Amy we're going to feed her well at the Olympia. We're going to make sure she eats.
To be fair, I haven't had to dig at all in my prep until this last week, and I feel it now. So
I don't miss that. I don't miss that depleted feeling where you just feel heavy and slow.
Yeah.
And just
Talk
even,
slow.
Yeah,
Did you talk
everything.
slow?
Even just like getting up out of a chair is like hard. Everything's hard. You just feel, oh man, I don't miss that. Just empty.
I feel opposite on. I like it for me. Like I feel heavy and slow in the off season. Like I don't feel that way. Like I'm full of energy on prep.
That's crazy. Yeah, but you're naturally lean. You're good metabolism. I don't. I get off the seat and it's cold.
I definitely left the hot seat. It's still laughing about that. Justin said down where I was sitting. He was just like, "Holy shit, man!"
Oh man, I never felt anything like it. That seat was at least 110 degrees.
That's crazy.
I'm just running basically TRT. Well, bodybuilding TRT right now.
Well, yeah, I know now why you like don't like stimulants that much in prep. It's probably miserable. You're probably just like radiating heat.
I literally I have a big 24-inch industrial fan. I put on a bar stool next to my bed, right in my face when I'm on contest prep. And if I take
my
Tran, it's
God.
even worse.
24-inch fan, eh?
Yeah, just
That's crazy.
giant industrial fans.
Yeah, you put it upside down, it takes off.
I'm going to ask this one real quick. George has got a question for you, Justin, and I'll get to the other chicken and rice question, and then we'll wrap up. Justin mentioned endurance runners turned bodybuilders tend to be mass freaks, Dave Palumbo, etc. Mitochondrial biogenesis and more efficient protein synthesis. Thoughts on mitochondria efficiency and gains?
Yeah, I have to like organize my thoughts on this because I'm actually doing a podcast with Dave, and he wanted to talk about this, and I don't have a thought. Mine is an observation, in that my ex-endurance runners all seem to stay really lean, seem to build muscle pretty well, better than you'd expect for all the like understanding we have of the ability to change fast twitch muscle fibers to more of a slow twitch with endurance activity. But I think it's something to do with the way you utilize, energy, nutrients, something with the mitochondria. But they all seem to stay lean. They all seem to add muscle really well. And I don't have mine was an observation of geez, every time I have an ex-endurance runner, it seems like they really take to bodybuilding very well, which is the opposite of what I would expect. And wrestlers do the same thing. And I would argue a wrestler is very similar to an endurance runner, but wrestlers also because of the mental toughness. But it's like when someone signs up and they do a check-in and they say, I ran long distance in college, or I wrestled in college, I'm like, oh, thank God, this is going to be fun. I don't have a thought on it. It's more of an observation.
Maybe my basketball background helped me. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's like a few adaptations that happen with long form endurance, and I think it's like mitochondrial biogenesis, mitochondrial volumization, and then capillarization of muscle tissue, and all those things sound great to muscle growth for me, right? Like if you have more mitochondria, more ATP, more ability to produce force, there's no bad. It's in that, and I guess more, capillaries intervening in the muscles, like you have more delivery of nutrients, more.
Yeah, there's probably some adaptation to muscle glycogen storage. Probably like a easier to get close to max capacity. Probably happens quicker, more efficiently. Probably excess calories are more preferentially stored as muscle glycogen over fat, compared to someone who maybe they go through the fatty acid synthesis pathway more easily, and those carbs that are extra calories get stored as fat where they could have potentially been stored as glycogen. Little things like that, and I think it adds up.
Right. I think so too. For sure. I mean, I'm
I'm
the
like a
same way.
huge component.
I'm
The
chronically.
downregulation.
Sorry, let me go ahead.
No, I was just going to piggyback on what you guys were saying about the downregulation of fat storage propensity. Really making sure like your mitochondria is being extremely efficient at using calories because of your constant need for burn. I think that tendency to want to maybe revert to a more storage based survival mechanism is maybe just really downregulated in people who have done a lot of endurance.
Yeah.
So I was gonna say I'm the same way because it's when I was in the military for 8 years, and you basically run every day, like every single day, multiple miles, sometimes 5 miles, sometimes much more. And when I started bodybuilding, like the one gift I had was I could and I still to this day, like I stay really chronically lean without really trying too much, which is a gift and a curse because like prep sucks because like I get so lean so fast, I get that like worn out feeling really quick, but also a gift because I can look good pretty much year round. But the thing that I've noticed is that these dudes typically who have done endurance, especially a lot of veterans, because I get a lot of veteran clients because I am one, and they stay leaner. They just stay leaner, and they have more ability to. You can create a higher demand for carbohydrates pretty easily with them, and it seems to get partitioned relatively efficiently. And I think that is due to oxidization of carbohydrate and lipids, of course.
Well, you see, like Palumbo, like dude was never out of shape, never out of contest shape.
Yeah.
And I remember him saying, like, I remember him specifically saying, like, when he would, break down, like, he tried to think first principles in building a diet. And he was like, like, so I thought, a cheeseburger is the perfect post-workout meal. And I was like, not for me. I wish it was, But he's like, you got your protein and your fat, and the carbs in the bun. I'm like, yeah, lots of foods have, but it just seemed like, man, like, he's just dealing with a different tool set than I am because I would love to eat McDonald's post workout, but that 1,000 calories in one meal with that much fat, no way. Like I mean, I keep doing like showing my a day of eating, and people in the comments never believe because I'll show like 4 meals of like 6 ounces of meat with 50 grams of carbs per meal, and I'm 255, 260 sometimes. I was like 268 after Brazilian Steakhouse. So I just like, I wish I did some endurance running because I feel like I just never get to eat.
I would be 185 pounds again if I ate like that.
Yeah, see, I went to grad school. I was on Adderall so I could study. I never ate, and I never dipped below 240.
Jesus.
I've never been under 2. I didn't work out either for 6 years, and still I never dropped below 240. My dad was the same way. Like, I think I already said this. My dad got into. Oh no, I was on a phone call earlier. My dad got into like aerobics in the late 80s with my mom. They were doing the firm every morning, and he got really he dropped.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. With I can't remember who did that, like Wayne Gretzky's wife or something. But he got down to 220 pounds, and he looked ridiculous. He looked like a bobblehead doll, like this tiny neck and this giant head. He looked absurd, And so that's what. I was meant to be big. 6 years of not working out, taking stimulants, and barely eating, and I never got below 240. Kevin, maybe 2,500, which is what Whoop says my metabolism is, which sucks.
All right, let's get the last one in here. This got paid for this one. Again, chicken and rice. Paul, if you went back to BJJ, what stack would you run, and what weight would you be? What would your weight training routine be like? How many days a week would you do BJJ versus weights? I would definitely trim down in size. I don't think being 250, 260, 270 is great for BJJ. Good for side pressure and knee and belly and stuff like that, but I'd probably
any muscle beyond what you can maximize force generation is really useless, and that's pretty low for as far as muscle mass.
I mean, all the best BJJ practitioners I've been around with have always been kind of wiry, skinny guys. I mean, they're the guys that can move, and they do have strength, but I don't know. I'd probably get down to like 220, 225 if I were to be serious about BJJ again. And I probably would just run TRT and some growth hormone for recovery. I wouldn't do anything probably beyond.
Yeah, the compounds used are all based on recovery, really. I mean, and the fact that like Bellator's WADA, which you can get away with more, UFC is USADA, which is you can't do. It's tough to do anything, but
I thought UFC said they were going to drop that.
they
weren't
need
gonna do it
to.
anymore.
It's so. I mean, it's so ridiculous. WADA's nice. They tell you ahead of time, so you just do a drug half-life calculator and find out what they're testing for, and then just make sure it's out. But
Yeah, I mean, I've heard. I mean, you would want to stay away from anything that's going to affect endurance. So probably trend would be out of the question. I know it would seem like logical that you would want it for aggression, but there's other things you could use. Like I've heard of guys doing things like. I mean, Colton, you probably would know about this, but doing things like test no ester before a meet.
yeah,
Or
well, you don't want to get
Halo.
pumped. That's the problem. You don't want to have a pump because that'll ruin you. It's
Yep.
In Thailand, the guys who were in the UFC who would go fight at the Muay Thai gyms, they would use like Winstrol mostly, and they're just because the nice thing is like USADA can't test them over there because they're in the middle of fucking nowhere in Thailand in the mountains, and like it's almost nearly impossible to use a map system in Thailand anyways. So good luck trying to find their camp and find where they're staying. But they'll just walk to the pharmacy. The camp instructor will get like a whole bag of Winstrol, bring it over, and then everyone will take a Winstrol tab a day, and like that's the pre-training session ritual. Or Halo testing is the other one I've seen a lot.
Yeah, I've heard.
I see Proviron also for the kind of same reason, just for the androgenic aspects without blood volume.
Yeah, you had a good point about the pump too. You wouldn't want anything that's going to give you a big pump.
That was an interesting about arm wrestling because they were the same way. Like it was all tendon recovery, and guys used PEDs, but they weren't doing cycles because if you're in a long match or a super match, you got to fight in a tournament like almost like 12 times. The worst thing that can happen is getting a pump.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that would be horrible for BJJ. You wouldn't be able to move. You cramp up, things like that. That would be the absolute worst thing you could possibly do. All right. I don't think there's anything else we want to touch on. I think that's probably it. Just a reminder, Justin, you want to let everybody know about Troponin supplements, the change again? We'll just remind everybody.
Yeah, I mean, the old links will still work, but yeah, we're Troponin supplements now, fully rebranded. You can get them at Troponin Nutrition. We have some really big things. I hinted at it in a recent post. We'll be doing some filming with a pretty big company about the rebranding, hopefully be on streaming services. Yeah, I mean, it's from top down. I mean, the products are the same. The products are the same. The ingredients are unchanged. We're working to get you better pricing. We've already lowered shipping, cut it more than in half. Shipping's all $4.99 now, no matter what, even wholesale. We've opened up wholesale. Anyone can do wholesale. If you have a gym and you want products, you go right on the website, buy wholesale. If you contact us and you want a corporate account, ACH transfer, card on file, things like that, we'll be happy to do it. But you can go directly there and buy wholesale products. And anyone could. If you like our products and you buy them all the time, you can buy in wholesale and get massive discount and get 12 or 20 bottles at a time or 24 bottles at a time just right on the website. What else am I going to say? Yeah, I mean, things have been really good. Sales have really gone up. We're not doing any ad spend right now, so our loyal customer base has just been really killing it. I think they know that we needed, because we bought out my partner, so that was a big expense. So we're starting out pretty deep in the hole, but it's oh yeah, thank you. Yeah,
Kevin really liked it. I liked your talk about it was on Think Big Bodybuilding. Go check it out on their channel. But Justin did an interview over there where him and Andrew got pretty deep into the investing conversation. It was a good one.
Yeah, man. Oh God, if you don't put your money somewhere, I mean, I don't even know. Like the forward benefit is so outrageous. Like with the ability of things you have to do. Like I'm outside the baking industry now because I can borrow against my own money at incredibly favorable rates with no paperwork. At the click of a button, I can buy a house. I can pay cash for a house just with click of a button. Pulling margin. I mean, you have to pay that back. It's margin, but because you're borrowing against your own money, they know that the money's there. They know that if you miss a payment or whatever, they can just do a margin call and take all the money that's left over from the margin loan plus all your investments. And there's a minimum maintenance you have to have. But yeah, you know, like, because you go to the bank or you do like Shopify Capital or PayPal Capital, you're getting like 19% interest rates. Margin loans are 6%. You know, you're getting 6% with the click of a button. You'll never get 6% from a bank right now. They're borrowing money at almost 5%. They're not going to give you a loan that they make 1% on. There's no value for it. Inflation's higher than that.
That's crazy.
So yeah, invest. Just put your money in the S&P 500, Triple Q or VOO, or the Nasdaq, SPY or VOO, and then Nasdaq is Triple Q, QQQ. Just go on any broker. You can even go to Cash App, and you can buy them right there. And you can do direct deposit, whatever you can. But if you put, what did I say? It was $500 a month away, which is a lot when you're young. But if you put $500 a month into S&P 500 when you're 20, you'll have $5 million at retirement. That's if you do no 401k, no IRA, no pension, no 401 match from your boss, nothing. Just $500 a month, which is a lot. But if you don't downsize your apartment a little bit, and maybe drive a crappy car until $500 a month isn't a lot. But you'll do, if you do nothing else, you'll have $5 million at retirement, and you will do other things. You'll have more than that. You'll retire wealthy. You'll retire flying first class and doing things you enjoy, rather than retire and have to take a job at the Dollar General, which just tanked 32% on Thursday.
So what you're saying is I shouldn't spend my dollar bills on long butt strippers.
No, son, get Bitcoin on long butt strippers.
Yeah.
Bitcoin, yeah, we talk about Bitcoin is another one that kind of frustrates me. I think people still think they're going to get wealthy on Bitcoin. The market cap of gold is $10 trillion worldwide. That's a lot, $10 trillion. And so people will say Bitcoin will be a replacement for gold. And I believe it really could be, because I think the fact that we dig gold out of the ground, fly it across the world, bury it back in the ground after we formed it into cubes, and then hire armed guards to guard it in a building.
It's ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah, it seems like my grandkids are going to be like, what? Why don't you just have it on your phone digitally? So I can see it. But that's a 30 or 40 year process. But even if that happens, that's 500,000 a coin. So Bitcoin, so that's 10x. That's a lot, but 10x is not how you become a multimillionaire or billionaire. NVIDIA has 10x in the last 2 years. So Bitcoin's going to go to 100,000 at some point, and it might even replace gold to 500,000. It might become a currency use at maybe at $1 million a coin, but even $1 million a coin is only 20x. Tesla is 20x since 2017 or something. So yeah, the stock market and real estate is where money is made.
And folks, that's your finance lesson from Anabolic Bodybuilding, where you can get finance tips.
Also, if you get any finance or crypto or anything DMs, it's not me. Some asshole. My Instagram account is Troponin_nutrition. My TikTok is Troponin Nutrition. So he created a TikTok, Troponin_nutrition, that looks the exact same as my Instagram. All the same photos, even reposted all the same videos, and is contacting everyone who follows any of my accounts, trying to get them to invest in some crypto scam. I would never do that. I shouldn't talk about finance stuff because I set myself up for that. But
I feel disappointed because all the fake accounts that are under my name are just trying to sell steroids.
Yeah, lucky. Mine are trying to rip people off with shit coins. But the funny thing is, if you watch the videos, there's like Russian voice overlaid. When I talk, it's some different voice speaking like Portuguese or Russian. I don't even know.
All right, folks. Thank you for watching. We appreciate each and every one of you. We'll see you next weekend.